Welcome everyone to the Authentic as Fuck podcast. My name is Sun E. Today we're gonna be talking to three different personal brands because our community has a lot of personal brands and we do a lot of storytelling there. So we're gonna talk to three different personal brands about their struggles and what their question is. So I'm going to bring on number one, Maria. Hey Maria,
Hey, son.
welcome. So good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. So let's start with your name, where you're from, and then what you do, and then your question.
So, I am Maria Dobradek. I live just outside of Chicago, and I am a life coach. My question for today is I am building a program that should go live in about a month, and I've
Okay.
created a website with some content on there, and I would just like your kind of input if how this kind of sounds. Because my issue so far has been not using the coach speak and not talking about people's heads, basically.
So you're talking about like your messaging, like how does it sound?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you
So
want to tell
if you,
me? Yeah.
yeah, here, let me share the website, or
Okay.
here we go. Share screen. And can you see my screen?
No. Did you do present?
I believe I did.
Oh, maybe I have to do this. No.
Okay, here. Interesting. It is not. Here we go. Okay,
Mhm.
here we go. It worked. Yay. Okay, so
So,
can you see my screen?
yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of the web page that I've been creating, and I'll scroll
Wait, what's that
slowly.
scribble stuff? What was that?
Okay, so this, this says Untangled. This needs a little bit of pun- kind of polishing. So the
Mhm.
program is going to be called Untangled, and it's going to be very much hands-on.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like an
it needs
animation
a
or
little.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an animation, but it needs a little bit
hmm
of the scribble needs a little bit of cleanup right now.
hmm
So
Continue. Okay.
I'm I am targeting a month from 2 days ago. So
Okay.
less 28 days at this point, basically.
Got it.
Forgot that I have a countdown there.
Mhm. Okay.
It would
Okay.
be kind of a monthly membership
So it's
program.
a membership. Yeah.
Yes. And it would be
Yeah.
a monthly membership, but it would include different classes. So the first class that I'm starting off is these basic tools class.
Okay. And what are the
And
basic tools?
here are the basic tools.
Okay, got
Um,
it.
if this is also like an animation, but I'm not sure if it's gonna run. Oh, here. So I might need to fasten this one now that I look at it.
It's also too hard to read.
Yeah, it needs to be
Too
bigger,
small.
doesn't it? Yeah. So
Also, like, do you think people? Let's skip this for now. I mean, do you think people will
okay.
sit there and wait for that? Like, I would just have it written out so that I could just
Yeah.
read it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes. Yes. So it would include 12.
I
It
mean,
would be
that's
a
just like
12
a
week
quick
program.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be like just an overview of a program,
Let's keep
basically,
going.
just
Yeah.
put in a picture. Yeah, and that's it, basically.
Perfect.
This
Okay.
inside.
something's
Gonna be
missing. You know what I mean?
what
To
is
me,
missing? Oh, I wonder what.
it just something core is missing. Like, so you keep using the word untangle,
Hmm.
but I don't know what that means, right? And
Okay.
that could mean so many different things to so many people. And also, I don't know exactly what I'm getting in your
Okay.
like. Okay, so let's talk about this. Do you want to talk about your sales page, or do you want to talk about like your overall
Let's
brand
talk
message?
about the program overall. Yeah, let's talk about the
Okay, so
overall program.
what do you think the what do you think the program does? Like, if I were to say this is what they don't know how to do, and this is how what you, like you get them here, right? So they're here right now, and you get them here. So what's this and what's that? I mean, in your words, you
The
said untangle to tangle, tangle to
yeah.
untangle, but what I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Okay. So it's from tangle to untangle, but the interesting thing would be that the program is for people who are kind of in this over consuming of self help, but they don't know what to do with it. And I used to be in that stage where I kept reading self help. I kept finding articles in magazines and kept reading books and even signing up for some classes. But the more I did it, the more I was confused because there was never like a how. So this would be like very specific tools that would give you that how. So I would take you from you want to change your life in some kind of a way, or
Okay.
like you want to
Let-
stop
uh,
exploding on people around yourself or something.
okay, let's
Give
pause there
tools
because
that you can
I
deal
have
with
really
it.
bad short term memory, so I'm gonna pause there. Because if you keep talking, I'm gonna forget all of this, and I have good stuff for you, right? So let's just break it one step at a time. Okay. So I get the part where you say you just self help, and then you get overwhelmed, and you don't know really how to execute it. Like, so I understand that part, right? So okay, first of all, right away, the way you said it just now is already 10 times better than what you had because you're just naturally saying it, right? So, but I want to go even deeper on that, right? So, what when was the moment you realized that okay, like this is how I actually take action and practice these things that I've been learning, and or what is an example of something that people teach where you were like, oh, okay, so how do I do that? And then you actually figure out how you did it, right? Can you talk about that?
Yes. For me, I was at this phase where I was just doing the surviving. And then I started kind of thriving in my life. So everything kind of came up at once for me. So I remember I just did not like my body. First of all, that was like the first thing that was like I really wanted to lose weight, but everybody kept saying, "Oh, you have to like yourself. You have to like your body. You have to like what you have." And I kept being confused. I'm like, "Okay, I want to," but I look in the mirror and I'm like, "Well, how the hell do you like this?" Like they never said how do you go from like I don't like my body to I'm liking my body now. Like, what is the steps between the I don't like it to I like it? Nobody ever said how to do it. They just kept saying, oh, you just have to do it. That's the thing to do. And I'm like, yeah, I got it, but how? So that was very frustrating to me.
So so what is the answer? So how do you do it?
Well, for me, in that specific,
Mhm.
and this is one of the tools that I want to teach, it was learning to go from kind of like not liking yourself, hating yourself, to a neutral place, to just kind of like that, okay, I'm a human, I have a human body. And then out of there to slowly change your thinking into gently liking yourself. It wasn't even like, oh, love yourself. It was just like, okay, I kind of like this. This is kind of okay. It's kind of
Mm,
it was very slow, gentle shifts, but
mm.
nobody tells you that it's slow, gentle shifts because it's always like we just do this. It's like
Okay,
one
okay,
stop
got it.
solution.
Okay, boom. I'm gonna save this in over here. That's good stuff. What you just said. Um, Next, I want to talk about. Okay, so this is how you do it. Okay, so I mean, I'm assuming that does everything that you do it like this, or do you? Is it just when it comes to self love you do it like this, or what about when it comes to confidence? What about when it comes to abundance? What about other areas of life? Is it also the same?
It's not I it's a whole bunch, it's 7 tools
Okay,
basically. So this
okay,
is just tools that you go to neutrality and kind of
mm,
possibility. That's how I call that
hmm,
tool. But there's other tools
got it.
that
Okay,
you can
okay,
use this tool in other areas too,
got it.
but there's
So
other
those are
tools
the
too.
tools that you listed on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yes.
that is what you need to highlight on that page, by the way, because that's what you're selling, right? That's your thing that you're selling, so you need to highlight that, by the way. But here's what I'll say, right? So right there, what you did was you give a great example of what untangle means, right? So if you come to me and say, "Oh, okay, like do you feel tangled?" and I'm gonna untangle, like this is gonna help you untangle. Like I'm sitting there going, like, "What? Okay, that sounds nice. What the fuck does that mean?" Right? But then if you say, do you feel like you're getting all this coaching, you're taking these courses, you're getting this advice, you're listening to this podcast, you're reading that self-help book, and you're like, oh, that all sounds nice, all like for example, self-love, you got to love yourself, you got to blah blah blah, it all sounds nice, but when you come home and you try to do it, you look at yourself in the mirror and like, how the fuck do I love myself, right? And then nobody tells you that how you actually do it is by first not hating yourself, and then boom, boom. So you go through the steps of like what you did, right? That's the part people leave out, right? That they don't, nobody tells you. But once you say that, people are like, oh, and then you say, that's just one of the 7 tools that I have that's gonna actually help you take these things, these advices that are cliche that you don't know how to take them and practical, like put it into practical use. Like these 7 tools are gonna help you actually like put it into practical use, right? That's a much better of saying what you said in the sales page. Now, here's another thing. Even then, that's just a how. Like that's just how you do it. It's your methodology, right? Because I can guarantee you, you're not the only person, only life coach in the world who does it that way. So there are other life coaches who has
I'm
methods and
not.
blah blah blah. So the real brand, your real brand has to come from you. In this type of, because we're talking about personal brands, right? Personal branding. Your real niche, your real differentiator, your unique value proposition has to be you, right? So you need to figure out your style of coaching. And I talked about this like on Sunday service, right? Are you the type of person that are a nurturer? Meaning, you know, some people don't respond very well to pressure. So if you're like accountability, like they're not gonna, they're just gonna go in their hole and disappear. Like you're never gonna hear, they're gonna ghost you. You know what I mean? Whereas in some people want that and they love that, right? But then that other people might be, more like more attracted towards somebody who's more nurturing. Like, oh, hey, you got this. Like, hey, come on. Whereas in some people just maybe just want one actual, like for example, I'm the type of person that just give me the concise like tips, like exact information that I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? Meaning, you know, okay, here's the difference between when I talk to, you know, when you pay like, those like couple $100 for regular coaching session versus when you pay like tens of thousands of dollars for like a mentor who's like very, very, very high level mentor, right? The difference is this, like these coaches usually tells me all the stuff that I already know. And I probably know them better than them. Do you know what I mean? So they tell me, they just regurgitate all the cliche that's already out there. What the high, the $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 mentors do is they recognize exactly where you are in your career and exact advice you need. Practically, like boom, 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 right? Meaning, okay, you're doing everything great, but you need to invest more here. Or like the specific thing that it's almost kind of confirming, like, oh, like I had a suspicion there, but this person just confirmed it, right? Like, so that's the kind of coaches that I like. The one that's gonna give me that one sentence that's gonna, okay, I'll pay you. I don't give a shit if you spend 100 hours with me. I don't care about that. If you just spend 1 minute with me and give me just that one sentence, like I'll pay you $100,000 for that because it was worth it, right? That's the kind of coach that I like, right? So everybody has different style of coach, and that's kind of what we need to understand is that, you know, not, yeah, everybody's going to respond differently. And if you try to please everybody just by, going safe, right? Going lukewarm. Oh yeah, I'm all about the process and like, untangling, like using these vague words because I don't want to, like, I want to make sure that I don't lose anyone. Like you're going to lose everyone. The way you make sure that you don't lose anyone is by doubling down on one idea and saying, hey, I'm this. Hey, I'm gonna make sure to get your ass up and get your ass working and make sure you're gonna, do it. But don't come to me and cry and all of that, because that's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? If you want that, go here or whatever it is, right? That I actually used to do that all the time in the early days of my agency. 9 out of 10 times we would turn away clients, and we actually had a list of competitors where we would say, for you, I would highly recommend you go to this guy because they specialize in that. Oh, for you, I would highly recommend you go here. And I would actually send them to competitors. And you know what would happen? Like a week later, they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, I still want to work with you. I tell them, okay, you're not right for me, like, because that's not my area of expertise. So go here. And they'll still come to me. And what that shows me is, like, at the end of the day, people hire people. You know what I mean? That's why you need to really put yourself out there, put your personality out there, because one of my strong values is that, right? Honesty, integrity, like authenticity. So when I send 9 out of my 10 clients to my competitors, like they know that when I say honesty, authenticity, they know I mean it. So as a boss, one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is when you run a business, when you're a boss, what happens is there's two answers that you can get from an employee, right? One is the answer that you want to hear. Oh yeah, son, everything's okay, right? And then the second answer is the answer that you want to hear. It's like, oh no, shit hit the fan, everything's going wrong, right? Now, there's gonna be that employee that doesn't want to tell me the truth, or they try to hide the truth, or they try to make it seem like it's not as bad as it is, because they're afraid that they're going to get in trouble, or they're afraid that it's going to be their fault or something like that. And then there's the completely honest and open ones where, and I know that for me, it makes my job a lot easier if I hire the honest one who's going to tell me the truth that I don't want to hear, because that's better for the company. I need to hear that shit, right? So therefore, when I'm honest like that with clients, most business owners understand the value of that. Like, oh wow, here's a guy this is a rare, somebody with this level of integrity is rare. Like 99.9% of people in his position will try to still sell himself to the client, even though they're not the right fit. But here's this guy who's not only not selling himself, but sending me to his competitors, right? So that's just like, that's me doubling down that I'm all about authenticity. And if somebody likes their character, they're gonna hire me. Okay. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you. It was.
That story works. I think that story works. It's good. Yeah, write it and then maybe share it on Circle, and I'll reread it, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Maria. Cool. Awesome. Next, I have David. We have actually one extra person on Philippe as a guest, so I'm going to go through this quickly. Hey, David.
Hey, son.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
So, where are you from and what do you do?
Okay, I'm from Quito, Ecuador, in the middle of the world. I am a personal brand developer. I work with personal brands, and not in the design field, but in the value proposition field. I think, and today I saw something you post that brand is not the logos, it's not the colors, it's not the taglines, it's the promise you keep, and that's my main phrase in in my speech. In the speech I always do, because I think the promise you keep is your brand, not the things, uh, the visual things. So that's what I do, that's where I'm from, and this is my question. Okay, uh, I know this is very valuable, and people, when I explain what I do, there's this kind of magic. Talking about archetypes, not the magician. um,
Mhm.
this is something magical. They opened their eyes and said, wow, that's exactly what I do. when I when I'm talking with them. So I'm an expert to present them the things I do, to give them the problem, to probably paint probably solution, and people connect. But it's very difficult to me, because it's so easy for me to get it and to translate it, because I'm a communicator, and I work with codes. So I get what you do, I translate it, and I give it back to them as clearly as possible to talk with their audiences. But for me, it's very difficult to put it into a value and to charge for that kind of service. Okay. And also to outreach new people, because
You just completely
I,
lost me. Wait, okay. So, so you, so what you're good at is working with the client and then figuring out what their
what they are.
strength
Yeah.
is,
What's their brand purpose?
what their
That's
brand
exactly.
message is,
Yeah.
and then but you're afraid to charge for that, is what
Yeah.
you're saying?
That's
Why?
it. Because as I told you, this is very natural for me. It's like in a conversation, I can figure
Hmm.
it out, and then I
Hmm.
give it to you, and then I said,
Hmm.
"Oh, I could charge for this,"
Oh, so you
but I
mean
didn't.
like okay. Have you charged for it before?
Yeah, yeah. I work with this. I work as
Okay,
a
so you're
personal
you're
brand
already charging for
consultant.
it. So what's the problem?
Yeah, the problem is I could not reach new people. I'm very um,
Are you not
I can
confident?
probably, yeah. I don't know how to go
Okay, let me ask you
to
this. Are
for
you
new
not
people.
confident of going up to somebody and be like, "Hey, this is what I do. This is what I can do for you, and I charge
Exactly.
this much."
I don't want. I feel like I could be so pushy, and I don't want to be so pushy. I really
No, 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 no,
value
no, no. That's not what I asked.
relationships.
That's not what I asked. Because
Okay.
what if I say, "Hey, I can do this for you for free"? Is that pushy?
No,
But if I
no,
say, "Hey,
no.
I can do this for you and it's going to be $1 million," is that pushy?
Mm, no,
So
I
is
don't think
pushy
so.
just a dollar amount? Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what exactly is the part where you're not confident about? Because I'm trying to gauge, because people say not confident, but there's a difference between, okay, I'm not confident because I don't want to, let me finish. I'm not confident because I don't want to be the type of person that are like, you know, showing off and things. Like I don't want to be that type of personality. That's why I'm not confident. Or it's because I'm not confident because I don't know if I'm worth $100,000 to charge for this. Those are two different kind of confidence. So which
Yeah, yeah.
do you know what I mean?
I
Which one is it?
Yeah, is the second one, because I confident about what I do and what is
Mhm.
my genius moments,
But you don't know. You don't think
but
it's
I don't
worth
know
it,
how to
worth the
charge it.
amount.
I don't know how to value it correctly and to put it on
Okay, okay,
value
okay.
and to charge it.
So it's not even that you're confident that you don't know how much you should charge. This is a
Yeah,
pricing
that's it.
question.
That's the question.
Okay. Okay. So it's a pricing question. So what's the most that you've charged so far?
The most,
Uh-huh.
like 500, 500, $500
Okay. So
for a
on the next
session.
one, charge 1,000. If they
Yes.
say no, then you're okay. If you charge 1,000, if you call $1,000 and like 5 people say no, then it means you're not worth 1,000. But if you say 500 and 5 people in a row says yes, that means you're
Yeah.
worth more than 500. So that means you're worth somewhere between 500 and 1,000. Like the market
Okay.
tells you what you're worth. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how much should I charge? How much should I charge? How much? Like, that's not up to you. The market will tell you how much they want to pay you.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Here's the
I
thing:
can feel
the
it.
only thing you can do is try to make yourself as valuable as possible. That's the only thing you can do. But you can't force somebody to pay you what they don't think it's worth, right? So
Right.
pricing is all about this, right? It's a perceived value. Okay, how much am I worth? Am I worth $500? Am I worth $5,000? Am I worth $50,000? The market will tell you. The market will tell you, okay, for that service, I'm willing to pay. Now, here's where I think where the problem is coming from, because I've had that same problem with you.
Okay.
Nobody that's starting out in the first 3 years of business will understand the value of what you're just selling. Nobody gives a shit. Because in the beginning, business owners are just excited about their product. They're just completely they're completely blind. They don't know what problems about they're just excited about their launching, and they're just selling, and they think they're the best, and they think they have the best product. That's all, and they're just worried about sales and conversion, and think that's what they're worried about. They're not really worried about brand messaging at that point. To them, brand messaging is like, just do it, or targets red. Like, to them, that's brand messaging. And no matter how much you tell them that branding is this and branding is the promise you make, they're not willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars in that. Let's just say that. It's kind of like, no matter how much you tell somebody who's like, just keep eating junk food and not exercising, how health is important, like, okay, yeah, that person knows, but they're not going to do anything about it because it doesn't affect their business right now, today. Do you understand what I mean? That's why I work with a client that's a certain size and up. Because a business has to be like that, blah, 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 blah. And then at a certain size, right? Now they're getting traction, and now have some decent sized competitors. And now they're like, holy shit, where do I fit it in the marketplace? Like, okay, these guys are like doing this. These guys are clear that they're good at this, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know who I am. Like, people keep asking me what like, I don't know how to answer them. Like, they actually bump into that problem once the company grows to that size. And that's where I come in, and I'm like, okay, that'll be $100,000. They're like, oh yeah, gladly, because I need that right now. So it's, have you heard that story before where, like, I forgot who this marketer was saying, like, oh, he's like in his kitchen, and there's a guy who's like, banging on the gate, and he's like, he just closes the window, and then he just climbs over and he keeps banging on the window, he's like, he's kind of annoying, and then he's like, finally, what? And the guy is like, your lawn's on fire, right? And so that's how quickly somebody can go from a pest to a VIP, right? To a valuable,
Yeah.
because, like, you're just targeting the wrong person, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the thing. When I reach people, they are more concerned about sales than brand. So as a brand
Because the
developer,
branding is, here's the thing, right? That's why running a startup is so different from running, like, the type of person that can get a company from 0 to 100 employees is not the same person that can get it from 100 employees to 10,000 employees. And the reason why is because At this point, what's important is product sales. Like
Yeah,
things like
that's it.
that, like speed, those innovation, that's what's important, right? But once you get to this point, you need to care about culture, your brand fit, your brand messaging. You need to worry about HR. Like there's a lot of other things that you need to worry about that you don't need to worry about here. That's why it's a very different landscape, right? So
Okay.
you're right
So
now trying to sell the wrong product to the wrong
yeah,
prospect.
yeah, that's it. That's the problem. So
Okay.
I think I should point out to bigger companies or to, well, this is personal brand, so directors or founders who has these companies that
Yeah.
already
Hmm.
do a very good business, and they need to confirm their brand position, something, some kind of
Yeah, I'm just gonna
this
say
kind of
one last
clients,
thing.
is it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one last thing because I think it's gonna really help you. Is that you just need to get one good client. You just need one good client, and with that one good client, you need to deliver. Because if you
Okay.
can do that, that's how your business, like every client service business starts with one good client. That's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people are so focused on lead generation, boom, 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 conversion. Like, how do I get 100 clients? They're so focused on 100 clients and not the one client. But the thing is, for me, my entire success of my business really comes down to like 3 clients. Like my first
Okay.
client and like one client over here who made the leap, and then one client over here. Like without those 3 clients, I would not be where I am today. So I cannot talk about the value of one good client, because one good client is all you need for your business to flourish, because that one good client will get you 100 good clients,
Okay. Understood. Understood. And
because that's
that's
how they work. The I think most people think that referrals work like this. Oh, hey, David, do you know a web designer? Oh, yeah, I know this web designer, so and so, blah, blah, blah. Hey, that's how most people think that referrals work, but that's not how referrals work.
no.
This is how referrals work, okay? Obama needs a new website, right? Obama calls Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg and be like, hey, you know the best web designer? Elon Musk is like, yeah, I got the best guy right here. Boom. That's how referrals really work. That's why one good client is so important. Imagine you get him one of those Rolodex, like your career is set. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Okay.
But how, so the question is, how do I get this one good client knocking at
Yeah.
doors daily, new
Yeah.
doors, new people,
Yeah.
founders. Hey
Yeah.
man, I'm a brand builder,
Did you listen to
brand builder.
the one from 2 weeks ago? Like, until you get that one dream client, for this is for everyone, until you get your one first dream client who's gonna get you to the next, leap you to the next level, you're in what I call the eating shit stage. Like a lot of people try to pass the eating shit stage, and they try to go skip straight to the caviar stage. No, you need to go through the eating shit stage first, and then and the eating shit is like basically say, hey, I'll do whatever you want. Hey, so let me do your website for free. Hey, let me do it. Just help me out. Just give me one chance. Blah, blah, blah. Like, eat shit. Like whatever you need. Like I used to answer my call when clients would call me like 3 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, because I ate shit. I mean, I talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago too, right? How I always made myself like indispensable in the company. Like a lot of people say that. Like a lot of people go to a company, but like, hey, son, like, don't kill yourself. They're just gonna give you more work. Like, they're not gonna pay. Like, they're like, what's in it for you, son? Like, they say all of that. It's like, what's in it for me is because I love doing it. Okay, so I just go ahead and overdo it, over deliver first,
Okay.
and then automatically, usually that comes, right. The rest comes. But most people sit there and ask me, son, how do I get the first client? I'm like, over
You wanna
deliver
reach?
first. You know. Thanks,
Yeah.
David. That was a great
Thank
question.
you,
Hope this
Sam.
helpful.
Thank you,
Again,
Sam.
I want to know what happens to Post in Circle. Uh, once you try this out, once you get your
Okay,
new
I will.
awesome client. Thanks, David. Okay, next we have Farah. Hi, Farah.
Hi, son.
Thank you so much. Yeah, tell
Course.
us where you're from and what you do and what's your question.
Absolutely. So my name is Farah Miltimore. I am in Barrie, Ontario. So I'm just about an hour north of Toronto in Canada. I'm a mind and body coach. My question is, okay, let's phrase it. I suck at packaging my services, and I will be the first to say that. I have this really shitty strategy, I think it is at least, where I try to package something and I'll just throw it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I quickly pull it away because I think my ego pops in and goes, well, that's not good enough. No one wants to buy it. So don't put it out there anymore and don't talk about it. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And obviously it hasn't been working. So my question is, how do I package my services? And I'd like to maybe start in a low ticket. I have a 3-month one-on-one program that I do right now, but I'd like to start building a community and kind of going a little deeper into that. So I'm at a, I keep
Okay. So there's I think it's a multi-part question. My first question to you is like, okay, so once you launch that package, how long usually before you pull it?
I would say sometimes I give myself a week, maybe 2.
Oh, okay. 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 So yeah, I mean that's the first thing I'll say, right? Like one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, like in the early years of business, is that they don't understand that in business most things are going to take at least 3 months for it to manifest, right? So for example, the biggest mistake that I see people make is hiring somebody today because they need somebody today. No, you hire somebody today if you're going to need somebody 3 months from now, or 6 months from now, because you actually need time to train them too. So, and that's kind of how, like, running a business is kind of like steering a huge ship. Like everything you do is gonna take really slow. It doesn't just happen right away. So what you did just there is like you steer left and you're like, oh, it's not moving. Okay, let me try this. Like that's what you just did. Okay, so that's not gonna help.
Okay.
Now, let's go back to. So what is your? Tell me more about your packaging. What do I actually get in those 3 months, and how much is it?
And so the 3 months is $1,500 is the investment, and you get
Per month?
No, $1,500 total, so $500 a month
Okay.
for the investment. You get Zoom calls with me, 24/7 access if anything comes up, and you also get recorded meditations and homework geared towards.
And who are your current clients?
Pardon?
Who are your current clients?
Usually women between the ages of 35 and 45 that are working on finding themselves and getting healthy.
I think you're charging, like, I already think that you're charging way too little.
Okay.
Because like right away when I hear that, you don't even have to tell me anything about yourself. It sound you from somebody that's like more experienced, it sounds like you're a newbie who's unsure of themselves that just got into coaching. So like, because like I see the red flags, right? Like the 24/7, like I'm available, like those kind of things, and the fact that like $500 a month is way too little. It's almost too little. Like, okay. I've lost projects before because I quoted too little. Because when you quote too little to the right clients, they're not going to take you seriously. They're going to be like, okay, this person is just not in the right caliber. Do you understand what I mean? So that can happen
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Because like on average, what I see is like even with the younger coaches, I see $2,000 a month like everywhere, like on average, right?
Yeah.
So when you say 500 a month, that automatically makes me be like, okay, that's no good. Right. So I
Yeah.
think I would say that first.
Yeah.
And then maybe instead of focusing on the packaging,
Mhm.
like just set a package, right, of what they
Okay.
get, whatever it is, just and don't touch it, leave it alone.
Mhm.
I mean, set the best package you think is going to deliver the best result for them, in
Yeah.
your opinion, right? So okay, in your mind, this is the dream package. Once they buy this, they're set, right?
Mhm.
Make that package, and then just boom, lock it away in a safe, and don't touch it. Like, act as if you work for a company where you have to sell their product and you can't even change it. It's not even your product.
Yeah.
Act like that.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Sorry, I would love to give you a discount, but I can't because
So my
it's the
hands are
company
tied.
policy.
This is
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So sell
Absolutely.
as if.
Yeah.
But then from this point on, just sell with complete conviction.
Mm.
Like, trust me, when I walk into a sales meeting for Night Owl, I know I'm not the best web designer in the world,
Mhm.
but I walk in there with the mentality that I'm the best web designer in the world. And that energy people will feel that energy. So yeah, just whenever you get on the phone, 100% focus on helping them. They come first always, right? Because whenever you're on the sales call, people can feel that energy too, right? Like
Mm.
if I'm trying to sell and they have a second agenda, people can feel that energy. But if I'm just genuinely trying to help, they can feel that energy too, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
then when it comes to the time to sell, like, I really, really want to help you, but this is what I charge, and this is what I charge. And I usually say, okay, I have a qualifying email.
Mhm.
And what we say is, like, usually on average, our website will cost somewhere between $50,000 to $100,000. And I understand this is an investment,
Mm.
but I can guarantee you all of our clients gets a return on investment on these.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
but yet I don't pressure them. Like, yet I still understand if you're not comfortable with that. So,
Yeah.
and when you do that with confidence, I can't stress enough how much sales is conviction. You can say
Mhm.
the exact same words and saying this way will close the deal, but when you say it this way, it won't. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
because I think what sales really is I think lie detection test. I think that's what it really is. As a customer, I'm trying to see, like, okay, is this guy trying to hide something, like trying to
Mm.
or is this guy like really being legit? Like, it's
Mhm.
almost a lie detector test, right? That's what we're looking for as a consumer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why conviction is so important in sales.
Absolutely. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that definitely helps. I enjoy delivering my story. I enjoy, like, my short form getting the attention, I find is really working. And then my long term, my education, putting something out there, still working on doing something consistently. I had a podcast, I started, I stopped, sort of thing. So I think if I continue doing that, and then with your advice,
Oh
just
yeah.
setting that one package.
Yeah. For you, your long-term plan should be this. Number one, get on stories, Instagram stories, as much as you can. Get on
I
emails
am.
as much as you can, and
Mhm.
just keep connecting with your audience, build that relationship. In the long run, yes, you should create a community, a course, something more scalable. But until that day comes, until you are 100%, like, you have a income that's automatically generating income, you're safe, you have luxury to invest in another thing.
Mhm.
Your bread and butter needs to be the coaching, and
Mm.
just
Just
like
stick to
raise
that.
those prices and just
Yeah.
keep selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So raise the prices, set
Yeah.
the one package,
Yeah.
and then just
Yeah,
keep
because
throwing
that
it,
can
keep
bring you
going.
money right away.
Yeah,
The community, these type of things that take time for it to get your return
absolutely.
on investment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Super
awesome.
helpful. Great. Thanks,
Thanks,
son.
Vera. Cheers. All right. Finally, Felipe. Thank you.
Hey,
Happy
son.
birthday, Felipe.
Thank
You're our
you.
special guest.
Yeah,
So
thanks for
I
having me
heard
today. I
your
will take this as
story.
a gift.
Yeah. So if people don't know, Felipe is a magician slash. He also teaches people how to do Zoom presentations, and he's taught a workshop at Night Owl Nation. He's also a member of Night Owl Nation. And he sent me a story, which I wanted to give feedback on it, but it was such a great story that I wanted you to tell it here first, and then let's kind of break it down. Yeah.
All right. So in the beginning of the pandemic, I was working as an engineer, leading 5 engineers in a big e-commerce company, and I had a hub, and this hub was creating magic effects for magicians and mentalists. I don't perform professionally, but a lot of the stuff that I was doing at the time was used by a lot of professional magicians. Then the pandemic came, and I saw a lot of these magicians stop working, and they were brilliant magicians. And after a few weeks, I saw that a few of them were doing virtual shows. And when I watched the video clips that they created for YouTube to promote their virtual show, it looked amazing. And I got really excited because I would get to see these performers that were all around the globe and I didn't know. And the YouTube videos, they had like the magician, the mentalist, and the center with the spectators around, and they would fluidly bring guests and have music, and this would really feel like a show. But when I got there, actually was a very boring Zoom meeting where you would sometimes see the performer speaking, and even when they would say, "Oh, this was your card," and actually you were looking at the spectator because they were talking. So very poor experience. And because I was working with them at the time, I wanted to, and I love it. I love magic and technology. I figured I would try to help them make something that really feels like what they were creating on the trailer, on the video that they were putting on YouTube. And I spent months working on it, and this is where I think my story gets a little bit too straight without tension. But I work it a lot. I created. I discovered that the first.
But you're a programmer by background.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm a
which
programmer.
Which is what he's not, or he didn't have. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I worked with. I started to approach big name magicians, which I didn't have so much contact, and showing the stuff that I was doing. And one of them decided to listen to me. This was Dan White. It's this is the best magician in New York City, and at the time now he's back in person as well. And he decided to listen to me, and we started working together. We worked 3 months together, and he put together a show that became simply the best magic show in the world, acclaimed by all press and watched by all celebrities you can imagine.
Okay, so I think I love your story because it's like first of all, it's a true story that just fits perfectly, right? Like of why you're doing what you're doing, right? But I think for the story to work, I mean, the story is already good. The way you sent it to me, it was already good. It was a solid story already. But to bring it to the next level, I would do a little bit of rearranging. And so how I would start the story, because beginning of the story is so important, right? Because you got to hook them. So I would actually skip all the part and start right at the point. Is like, oh, I was whatever years old. I saw this guy, it's called a mentalist, who told an audience member to go pick out a book, open a book, and any page, and just think of a word. And then he guessed it. Like that moment was life-changing for me because I was like, how did he do that? And from that moment on, I kept getting into magic and blah, 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 blah. But that was my passion. But I'm a programmer by trade, which is the farthest thing from magic, right? And I always like wanted to kind of like tie these two together. Like, it wouldn't be cool if I can work in magic, blah, blah, blah. And then until one day, pandemic happens. I see this guy who just did a trailer that was, when I saw this trailer, it almost brought me back to the moment when I saw that mentalist reading that word, because he created an experience. He created that kind of experience for me through this Zoom. And I asked him how he did it, but he couldn't figure it out. But me being a programmer, I figured it all out. And then I started reaching out to some, like, don't go too much into the part about the magicians, like where you go, because it doesn't support the story. So you can make that part super short, right? Long story short, I hooked up with Dan and we spent 3 months working on this together. And I created this using my technical skills. I always have to create this magic for him. Do you see what I just did there?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm tying your inner desire for magic and presentation to your actual skill, which is programming, and how those things came together to what you do. And when you say like that, and your ultimate lesson is like, that is why my goal is not to make a cool feature for Zoom or something for OBS. That's not my goal. My goal is to create magic, and whatever you can do using Zoom, with whatever I can do using technology with Zoom to create magic, is what I want to do, right? Then it's just like all fits together.
I love it, and I can see it's very short and impactful. Yeah. A question that I have is how I'm afraid to make people think that I will only work with magicians, because this was my initial public.
No. That's why at the end you have to say like. That's why at the end you have to say like that, right? At the end, in the conclusion, I think you have to be very. That's why I would say rewrite it, streamline it, rewatch this, rewrite it, post it on Circle, and let me read it. But I think the ending has to work like this. Like, you have to clearly state, like, this doesn't mean that this is just for magicians. But remember that anytime you're speaking in front of an audience, anytime you're delivering an experience, you want this experience to be magical. Because remember that first talk that you went to, that first Gary Vee talk you went to, the first Tony Robbins seminar you went to. Didn't it feel magical? And that's what we want to create here. So you need to do some play on words to bring kind of magic into presentation without being too magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can totally see it. Yeah, awesome. This is perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for waiting, and good. I'm glad you were able to come on. I think it's gonna be great. Okay, thanks, man. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. There will be replay, and then there will be audio version of all the podcasts. I'll see you guys next week. If you want to join the show, you have to be a member. For any member of Night Owl Nation can join. So if you want to be a member, just go to sunyi.co, sunyi.co. Bye.